Welcome to another Halloween Snake Solid video. Ooh. So, you're probably wondering, why are you covering P4's The Fog, Snake Solid? Why aren't you covering something from Persona 3 like The Dark Hour or Tartarus being basically the back rooms or any of the bad imagery with Nyx or even the atmosphere in the opening cutscene feeling like it's out of a creepypasta? Well, I'll tell you why. Because all of those things are normalized within the tone of Persona 3. And I kind of wanted to cover something that I feel is more out of nowhere. And if there's any game in the Persona series that seems like it's just a happy game that has absolutely nothing wrong with it, it would be Persona 4. Persona 4 is a game that feels, if you're a person looking in, like it's a happy game where nothing goes wrong within it. But there's a few dark spots in the story. Of course, a few people die. It's about solving a mystery, but for the most part, the tone of it is kept relatively high, and the humor is pretty common. It's kind of more in tone with an episode of Scooby-Doo than a horror thing like Persona 3 kind of is a lot. But unlike Persona 3, there's one thing in Persona 4 that blindsided me on my first playthrough and has stuck with me to this day. So, let's get into it, shall we? So, what's in Persona 4 that makes me want to cover it instead of something in Persona 3? Well, it has to do with the main world where you fight shadows, the TV world, particularly the Midnight Channel. So, basically, in Persona 4, every single time a party member or a character is kidnapped, you have a set amount of days before the character ends up being killed by the shadows. And this is because of something within the fog. It is because when the fog is out in the TV world, the character inside of there is safe in the Midnight Channel. But the second that the fog comes out into the real world, that's when the shadows go berserk and usually kill the character stuck inside of it. And this fog is very thick and eerie, but it's always been inside of the TV. Even when there's fog outside of it in the real world, the fog outside looks like normal fog, whereas the fog inside of the TV world is a sickly yellowish green, which is really gross. The characters normally don't have to deal with this because they get special glasses from Teddy that allow them to see within the fog. However, all of this changes after the end of November, at the beginning of December. And something I really like is how it just happens. At the beginning of December, you go outside and you see that it's extremely foggy. The happy atmosphere that you've been feeling throughout the entirety of the game is gone. It's replaced with an ominous track. You're hearing it in the background right now. This is my favorite part of the game, undoubtedly. The atmosphere just goes super bad for an entire month and a half, basically. And throughout this month, the fog gets progressively thicker and more disturbing. It gets darker on average, and then there's points where the world outside during the day looks like it's night. It's incredibly unsettling, especially with the track. Now, the longer you wait, the worse it gets, to the point where these black things start floating through the air and stuff like that. I'm not sure what they're supposed to be, but if I had to guess, they might be something related to shadows. But the part that really gets me about this is how everybody in the town reacts to it. At first, it's just people being irritated or afraid or confused by the fog and why it's so thick and not going away. But then as the month progresses, the town breaks into mass hysteria. People are curled up in the school and on the streets, expecting it to be the end of the world. People stop shipping things to Inaba, and on top of it, you have mass hysteria with people that are saying, oh, the gas is poisonous, and it's incredibly unsettling. Now, I I bring this up just because this comes out of nowhere. The atmosphere of Persona 4 is completely lighthearted for the majority of the game. But that paired with everything from Nanako possibly dying is just very, very depressing. And it's not even like the inside music is safe, because it's not playing Signs of Life anymore. It's playing a really depressing track. It's kind of like, the best way I could describe this second track is, it's like if you've ever been at home alone, if that makes any sense. It's a very empty, sad song because, well, you are alone for the entire month. And, oh boy, that's nothing compared to the fact that this fog is in every single social link that takes place outside. And not only that, the music during these social links are changed to Omen, which is the name of the track. Most unsettling are the handful of bad endings that take place during this. All these bad endings are really unsettling. You have ones where the characters don't find the killer and he gets away and the fog persists. You have one where you kill the person, you kill Namatame, and the fog persists because you didn't solve the problem. Then you have one where you fail to stop Adachi before the deadline in December, in which the fog is inside of your house and it's completely yellowed and hard to see, and you get a call from Naoto and this happens.
The entire town, it's filled with shadows. I can't!
Honestly, this type of thing is what I love to see in games. I love it when creepy things like this are hiding inside of really happy games, and it's why I kind of wanted to make this series that I'm doing during October. There's not much else I can say about this, but Omen is a rare song that disturbs me on a deep level for some reason. I can't really put it why, but Omen, when I listen to it, makes me want to cry. It's like, it's just very unnerving. One last thing to break the tension, I guess. Some of my friends said during this bad ending where Yu checks outside, a shadow should have jumped through the glass and got him. But honestly, I think Naoto dying and screaming over the phone is more disturbing, to say the least. It's by far the most disturbing bad ending, I think. Not disturbing, perhaps, but it's one of them. It's one of those, it's probably the bad ending that is the most disturbing at first, whereas the other ones in the series kind of require you to think a little bit in context of the ending to figure out why it's bad. Anyways, that's this video. I hope you all have a great evening, and remember, try and keep the Halloween atmosphere up.
No escape, you're there! Like this! Ready? I'll make it count! This! Ready? Come!